Come on. Get ready. Shared services, I don't know what you learned, but I'll tell you this. Shared services, everyone wants cheaper payments, but be in control, right? I'll share with them, but I want to own everything. All right, everybody stand up real quick. Stretch your arms. Turn to the right. Turn to the left. Oxygen in. Ready to go? All right, John will be very happy to know that you guys are oxygenated and ready to listen. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you John Spiegel, who is the CTO at HPE Aruba Networking. He has nothing to do with printers, fix your own printer problems. HPE Networking. And John is a cyclist and a foodie who loves to cook. And I'm thinking, those go really well together. You build up all that appetite, and then he's a foodie who likes to cook, so he gets to enjoy eating everything after he's done all that exercise. So please, welcome to the stage, John Spiegel.
Thanks for having me. How's everyone doing? Did you have a nice dinner last night? Drinks? All right. So we're going to talk about the journey to SASE. This is a very hot space right now. There's a lot of conversations happening around it. There's a lot of buzzwords involved in it. And I'm going to help you out and kind of help you understand this space, give you the why, help you understand how it's coming together, and some tips on how to start your program if you haven't started it already. I am the field CTO for Aruba HPE Networking. So my journey here is a little different than a lot of people in this room. I come from the network side, the infrastructure side, so the other side of the house. And that's a topic we're going to kind of dive into during this discussion. I've also had the opportunity to advise several startups. Two of them became rather successful, and the third one is the one I joined, and that is how I got to this space. The company that I used to work for, Access Security, got purchased by HPE Aruba Networking, and here I am. But I also love to cook. It is something that I enjoy, and I do want to thank a few people in this room, Eugenev, Dimitri, and Helen. They've been incredible hosts to the food scene here in Toronto. I've had 2 amazing dinners, and I thought the night before was really good, and then we went for tapas last night. Outstanding. But I also like to prepare foods, and this is something that I do with my wife. I'm very adventurous. I love to cook. I love to put the meal together. But I'm not very good at the final part, and that's the most important part, the tasting. And that's really where my wife comes into the picture. She's extremely adept at this. Her tools are white pepper, citrus, and salt. And she can make a meal that is marginal into an amazing food. And oftentimes, I text back and forth with a few of my friends about the food, and we go back and forth. But that really speaks to what's going on in this space. You've got really 2 people, 2 groups coming together, and that collision is going to cause our world to change over the next 3 to 5 years. It's much like what happened when the internal data center got moved to the cloud, or what happened with virtualization. The software-defined revolution that started in the 2010s is finally starting to hit network and security. So why is that? It comes down to this. The solutions that we have been deploying in our networks, they have their origins in the 90s. And as a result, there's a lot of complexity, multiple vendors. You might have one vendor for your wireless. Maybe it's Aruba. You may have one vendor for your LAN network. You may have another vendor for your wide area network and another vendor for your data center. And then when you start talking about security solutions, there's a whole host of vendors. What is the impact of that? It means that you have to have teams that manage multiple UIs. They have to be masters in this. That is expensive talent. The other piece is complexity. These solutions are complex to deploy. They are operated, and the break fix, when they break, you need a tiger team basically to solve the problems. Cost is another factor. Wide area networks built on private services like MPLS are expensive to pay for. As a result, we got some technologies like SD-WAN out there that reduce the cost and the complexity, but we still have siloed technologies. A siloed technology for your security stack, siloed technology for your network stack, and then silos within all of those other areas. The problem with that, you have to operate at scale. You have to learn to do more with less. Challenge with that, bringing all these solutions together with automation frameworks are difficult. There are several tools out there, but finding the right talent to put it together can be a challenge. The result, time to value is high. And then security. All of these solutions need to be stitched together because for security to be successful, you gotta have visibility. And that is a challenge when you have multiple vendors within your network. As well, in the security stack, there are silo technologies. You have a CASB, a ZTNA, perhaps, DLP. Maybe there's security like a SWIG or a firewall. Challenge there, policy sprawl. Each one of those products needs a different security policy associated with them, and trying to align them is a difficult thing to do. As an example, let's take the remote access scenario. Let's say we have somebody who works in HR. Her name's Amy. Every morning, she's working remotely, so she dials in on her internet, connects to the firewall, and then basically she's put through a whole host of technologies. There's a VPN concentrator. There is a firewall, a DDoS defense mechanism, an IDS. She's interrogated by the NAC system. Then she's got to work her way because we got to see what her packets look like, an SSL decryptor. Then there is an IPS system. And then finally, another firewall. Then she has to log on to a VDI jump box because her application is located where? It's out on the internet. Amy here, she had to run a virtual IT gauntlet just to get her work done. It's very possible that she has to pass through 8 different security products from possibly 8 different vendors, and it's very likely that these solutions are managed by different teams. If we pan away from the journey of one employee to the entire enterprise network, we gain a new view of this complexity. The pace of digital transformation is placing even greater stress on these traditional networks. These were originally built to connect the branch or the campus back to a single private data center. But yet, here we are today, these very same networks are now being tasked with connecting to external locations. Could be an IaaS load hosted in Azure, or maybe it's an ML system in Google Cloud, or perhaps it's a serverless system in AWS. But more often than not, these solutions are SaaS applications like Workday or Salesforce. Now, I cannot stress this enough. These solutions were designed in the 90s to funnel data back to a private data center. But yet, these very same networks are now tasked with delivering packets to centers of data in just about every corner of the world. But here's the challenge. Think about IT. Just about everything has changed since the 90s, but this, how to deliver applications securely. And why is this a problem? Because by their very nature and how these networks have evolved, the modern demands that we are placing on them, they are operated at high cost and high overhead. That said, they are also prone to break, they are insecure, and expensive to operate and maintain. So what is the path forward? What does it look like? And how can we rethink networking and security? I think it's really about this. The pandemic made the model to switch to a new mechanism. With workers sitting at their kitchen table, collaborating with their colleagues on Zoom, A new model was required, one that focuses on the needs of the newly distributed workforce. So what does that mean for the CIO, the CISO, the security engineer, the network engineer? Here are my thoughts on how we can have some success here. It's also including a quote, famous quote from Leonardo da Vinci. First, we need to embrace the concept that hardware solutions of the past are a dead end. The approach worked when your workers were in the branch or the campus office. We now live in a different era. It's a period of distributed applications and the distributed workforce. We need to move both your networking and your security to the cloud. They need to be delivered like a SaaS service. Secondly, the network underlay. We need to focus on speed and ease of access. If you think about the home worker, the person working at their home or the cafe, 100% of their traffic is destined for the internet. And it's very similar for the campus and branch. So why are we implementing complex solutions with high overhead? Focus on speed and ease of access. Next, we need to leverage policy, because for far too long, networking and security have been out of alignment with the business. Security really needs to focus on business outcomes. Moving to a policy-based model allows us to use business logic to program our network and security solutions. And finally, let's talk about the elephant in the room: zero trust networking and the software-defined perimeter. You would think after all the high hacks and breaches, the things we've been talking about in this conference, we would be further along. The challenge is, in the past, this was difficult to do. Think about all the solutions out there that are available to you. Could be like device trust ZTNA, or something like session-based ZTNA, or maybe it's micro-segmentation-based ZTNA. Added to that, all the confusing marketing coming from the vendors. It's very difficult to understand this space. That said, zero trust, the strategy, is the right one. Our future must be about delivering applications securely and not allowing that opportunity to see the rest of the network. It needs to be about the one-to-one, user to application. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with this: the framework known as SASE. And really, what is SASE looking to address? In the past, if you were a CIO or a leader within your organization and you had a new application, you basically faced a dilemma. You could either secure that application or you could deliver it with speed. And we all know which option the CIO would take. They would focus on speed, because speed equals employee productivity. The common goal of what SASE looks to do is solve that dilemma: deliver applications with both speed and security. How does it do that? It essentially takes two stacks: the network edge on one side, the security stack on the other. It brings these technologies together and distributes them on a global basis in the forms of points of presence, or POPs. These POPs are put close to the user and the application, so you can basically get speed and security together. So what does that look like? It looks like this. Say John is in Abu Dhabi. He needs access to an application that may reside in Houston, because Houston's where HP's headquarters is located. What will happen is John will make a request. That request will go out to a series of POPs. It will basically check to see which POP is the fastest, has the fastest path to that destination. Within that POP, and these POPs can be either in co-location facilities, they can be in private data centers, they can also be on top of the cloud giants like AWS, Google, Azure, so on and so forth. Within those POPs exist all the services: the networking services, acceleration, maybe it's SD-WAN. It also has the security stack: CASB, DLP, SWIG, ZTNA as well. The connection will be made. The fastest POP will take the route, and deliver that traffic back to that data center or even to the cloud. The result, you overcome the dilemma. Security and speed brought together on a global scale. All right, so once we understand that, then we need to dive into SSE solutions. And what you're going to find as you go out there and talk to the various vendors, that each vendor approaches the space in a different way. It may be, and a lot of times what it's about is where did they start their journey? Maybe the company started in the SWIG space. That will definitely inform their point of view. Or maybe they started in the CASB space. And again, that's going to inform their point of view. We at HPE took a different approach. We knew this was about delivering an application with security. And that's why we started with Zero Trust. Only provide the resources required to perform a function. Nothing more, nothing less. And then critically, watch vigilantly during that transaction to understand if there's any indicators of compromise or any changes in the state. Maybe turning off a firewall, a CrowdStrike firewall, or perhaps it's the user or employees pulled out of the IDP. Or maybe they fail a posture check. If so, shut down that connection. So we built this platform to have Zero Trust at the center of it. It's the foundation, and it's really about delivering those services. So then what we do is we build on that foundation. We add additional services, like Secure Web Gateway. Or maybe you want to secure those SaaS applications, like Workday or Salesforce. If so, we do also offer a CASB. And finally, probably the one that I get excited about most, given my background in infrastructure, digital experience monitoring. How do you understand how an application is performing? How do you understand how a SaaS application is performing? And if there's slowness within the network or the application, or even the home user's PC, how do you understand where that problem is? That's really what digital experience monitoring looks to do. So how does this solution work? So the first item to consider is, should remote resources be granted direct access to your network? We believe otherwise and take an approach of brokering all of these requests. We allow no pass-through connections within our solution. If you allow the pass-through connections, that, in my mind, violates the principles of Zero Trust. So what do? We run a process called adaptive trust. It's essentially a calculus. Consider the user, the request, the state of the system or the device, the location, the time of day, what kind of application are they accessing? Are they using their own device? Is it a corporate device? All of these things are configurable factors, all based on policy. And as well as we sit in line, we also have visibility. We can see the type of traffic going on. We can see inside the traffic and decrypt SSL at scale. You don't need to pick and choose based on performance limitations. It's all available to you. The result, attack surface is minimized. The attacker can no longer move laterally throughout the network, which is one of the major challenges today. The other piece is all the services exist in all the POPs. The solution is based on cloud-native development. It's all based on code. There's no hardware involved. And it's all built on our motto of simplicity. All right, so how do we get to the journey? This is the key part here. Our journey always begins with small steps. The journey to SASE takes time. It's not something you can do in a day, a week, a month. It's really a process. And why is that? It's because it involves what were previously point solutions. Maybe it was a firewall, an internet gateway. Maybe it was your network. All of these solutions need to be understood, and you also need to take time to understand the financial impact of what you're doing, because all of these other solutions, they have a financial schedule associated with them. There's depreciation associated with them. There's also support contracts that you need to understand. So what we've seen people do is pick a point, what business problem are you looking to solve? Is it securing SaaS apps? Okay, that's a place to start. Is it about securing your users from the threats of the internet? That's another place to start. But where I've seen a lot of people start is within third parties. Third-party access represents one of the greatest risks within business. It involves contractors. It involves the people that might be managing your OT environment. Maybe it's granting access so somebody can work on an HVAC system. Those are all areas where you can be compromised. And what we see a lot of people do is start with an agentless solution. Grant access to common applications that are either web, SSH, VNC, VDI, those types of things. Do it in a very easy way through a browser, grant access to those applications, and secure them with zero trust principles. After that, what we generally see is people will want to upgrade their remote access solution, get off the VPN solutions of the day. We recently saw CISO put out a notice around one of the VPN gateways out there that it had extreme vulnerabilities. We're seeing that more and more often. VPN is another avenue for compromise. Moving to more the ZTNA approach, where you basically broker this connection, you don't allow the pass-through connections, is a better way to go. After that, start to look at Secure Web Gateway. Secure your workers from the internet. Do it in a simple way. We can't put firewalls all over the world. That's a very expensive approach. Secure Web Gateway is a better solution. After that, start to look at CASB. Then look at DLP. Add simple DLP into it. Get some control over the data. And then finally, start to look at unifying your network solutions. Bring together what were previously different solutions like SSE and NAC, and start to bring your network together in a simplified approach. One policy to rule them all. And another piece to look at is your wide area networking. SD-WAN is right now about 50% through the market. There's another 50% to take care of, and a lot of those solutions generally are very expensive and are based on older routers that need to be replaced. It's a great opportunity to bring it all together. So what does this give you? It gives you simplicity. One solution to basically take care of your network and security solutions, to deliver those difficult applications. It also reduces the cost, because all of these solutions can be very expensive. Moving to a single vendor solution reduces your cost and your overhead, as well as your management pieces. You don't have to have the admins that are dedicated to all those different point solutions from different vendors. One UI, one solution basically to manage them all. So this is kind of how we're seeing it. A lot of people are starting with the SSE approach and then adding on the SD-WAN, or they already have the SD-WAN. What you're going to see is over the next 3 to 5 years, people are going to be moving to these sorts of solutions. Always the time to start having that conversation with your team and starting to get moving down the path. So I've kind of given you the ingredients to cook your own SASE journey. The rest, it's really up to you. So I hope you enjoy your travels to a place where network and security can come together and grow in harmony. I thank you for your time.